feeling my discipline. A whole bunch of stuff got I don't know what the word is, but it's pre-approved, like already, as long as you were like went to work. Taking 20%.
Hi, Gene. Good to see you. And everyone else online. Hi, Brian and Linda. Good to see you again. Good to be back. We'll just give it like another minute or two, and then we'll begin. And make sure that I'm all set to begin. All right, we can start now. That's okay. Welcome, everybody in person and everybody online. Welcome to the Wednesday night meditation on loving kindness. My name is Alex. It's wonderful to be here with you. We already, for the online folks, we already talked to the new folks here. There's several of them, so it's good to talk to them. If there's anybody online who's brand new and who hasn't been to the Dharma Bum Temple before, or hasn't been to a class here on Wednesday, just go and let me know. Love to say hello to you. So I've been gone for a couple of weeks. I've been doing this thing for the last 10 years where I take my yearly vacation in February. It normally works out really well just because, where I go, it's not terribly too cold and snowy. So I usually go to Sedona, Arizona, and I went there again this time, and it was cold and snowy and rainy, and I didn't get to do much. But what I did get to do was fun, and I just had a relaxing time anyway, so I just made the best of it, and it was super fun. And the drive was nice, and it was just I took a couple of days off afterwards when I got back, so that was also nice. So it's good to be back. There had a couple of people take over, so that was nice. And, I thank them for doing that. Thank you, Travis was one of those people. So a reminder for our new people, and a reminder for the people who have been here before. The word that we talk about when we talk about loving kindness is this word called metta, M-E-T-T-A. And this word metta is from the Pali language, which is a language pretty close to what we think the historical Buddha spoke. The historical Buddha spoke something called the Magadhan language, and I think that was his mother tongue. And Pali seems to be pretty close to it. They didn't take great records back then, so we don't know for sure. But what we do know, we think is pretty close. And when this word metta from a couple thousand years ago was translated into English, the meaning is so vast. It means a lot of things: loving kindness, unconditional friendliness, goodwill, inoffensiveness, concord, amity. All these kind of wonderful, feel-good kind of words. Inoffensiveness. I may have said that already. It just kind of means a lot of things, and it's really just a wish to be happy, a wish for ourselves to be happy, a wish for others to be happy, and a wish for ourselves and other people to do the things that cause happiness, right? We want everyone, including ourselves, to do the things that cause happiness. This is a practice, this practice is an action verb, so that's what the Buddha encourages us to do. Uh, and if you know anything about the Dharma Bum Temple and what our motto is here, then generally speaking, what causes happiness. And our motto here at the Dharma Bum Temple is think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds. Right? So we want to cultivate our body, speech, and mind in a way that is non-harming, is kind. So we want to do that. And so when we practice this loving kindness, it's really just kind of all encompassing about kind of how we want to live our lives and relate to others, and our wish for other people as well. And the great thing about this practice is, because this practice, focuses on thinking good thoughts and, speaking good words and doing good deeds with the right intention, our loving kindness will never get in the way of another person's loving kindness, ever. Even the people who we don't like very much, right? So that's kind of what we talk about or think about when we think about loving kindness here at the Dharma Bum Temple. And so one of the things I've wanted to do that I just forgot about until now. Glasses. There we go. Perfect. Is in Buddhism, from these sutras or these teachings from 2,500 years ago, the Buddha actually kind of tells us how to relate to this practice in our daily lives with something called the Metta Sutra or the Metta Sutta. And what I love about this is from thousands of years ago, and it's as relevant today as it was back then, and it's pretty much relevant at any time. So I'd like to read this to you. It says, "This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud or demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove. Wishing, in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short, or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness, one should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding. By not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. So I like, in several of these sutras, make these big, kind of very bold pronouncements at the end. So if you do this, this is what happens. And so he's saying, if you do these things, if you live your life in this way to the best of your ability, eventually, and you're not born again into this world. And that's kind of our goal, right? We're stuck in this kind of cycle of birth and death and rebirth, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, and you know, our job is to stop that, you know, and you know, enter into the deathless, as they call it. I like calling it that. Just another word for nirvana. And so, and I like, it's just a wonderful sutra. It's beautiful, and like I said, I kind of marvel at every time I read it, as you know, you always get a little bit more out of it. So, yes, Jennifer.
Sorry, do you mind rereading it? If we have it in there.
Yeah.
I just love it.
Do you all mind?
Sounds good, sounds good.
This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud or demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing, in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short, or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will. Whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness, one should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding. By not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And so what we're going to do in this loving kindness meditation is we're going to do kind of get a couple minutes connected to the breath first, and then we're going to start our formal meditation, and we're going to do this practice for our benefactor. And a benefactor is, you know, anyone who has shown us great love or great kindness, someone that's really, you know, close to you, that's really easy to have these feelings for, you know, not a romantic partner, but everyone else is on the table. That's just the instruction. And you could either do this practice a couple of different ways. You could either just radiate loving kindness to them, wishing them happiness, wishing they do the things that cause happiness, right? Or you could just repeat phrases of loving kindness for them. You know, phrases like, and I'll repeat this when I guide the meditation. May you be happy. May you be safe from inner and outer danger. May you be well in body and mind. Right? May you be at peace and live at ease in this world. You can just choose one or more of those phrases, or just a phrase of your own, you know, concoction. As long as it has a loving and kind intention behind it, it's fine. Right? So we're going to do a practice for our benefactor, and then we're going to imagine our benefactor doing this practice for us, right? Now, and just pretending that they're doing this practice for us and just letting all of their loving kindness back into our heart. They're already a benefactor, so you already have experienced their love and kindness towards you. So just call that to mind again and let that all back into your heart. And then we're going to do this practice for ourselves. And then we're going to do this for all beings in all directions. Right? So I'm going to guide it. Don't worry about it. If you have any questions before we start, anybody? All right. This is going to be fun. And then after this, we're going to have some questions. And if we have time, we're going to learn about the Buddha's doctor. Right? The Buddha had a doctor. And how he became the Buddha's doctor is a fun story. I love telling this story. All right. Let's go do this. So just allow your eyes to close, making sure you have that nice and seated, comfortable position that's nice and comfortable and sustainable so you're not likely to move around too much. And when we sit like a Buddha. And you can even imagine yourselves as a Buddha sitting underneath your own tree of enlightenment, ready for the day's abiding. So at first, let's just get connected to the breath. So let's just take a deep breath all the way in and all the way out. Paying attention to the breath that may be at the base of the nostrils, feeling the air go in and out as you breathe. Or focusing on the belly or the chest, feeling its expansion and contraction as you breathe. You're not struggling with the breath, just finding that breath that's nice and comfortable for you. For some people, it might be a longer or a deeper breath, and some people it might be shallower. And so we encourage you just to kind of experiment and feel what is that breath that you need to take to relax the mind and relax the body while still staying alert. Just for the next couple of moments, just rest as gently as you can in the sensations of the breath. And so to begin our formal practice of loving kindness meditation, we're first going to think of our benefactor. And again, a benefactor is anyone who has shown us great love or great kindness, someone close to our heart. It's easy to have these wonderful feelings for. And you can either radiate loving kindness to them, and however you understand that word radiate. Sometimes I like to think of a beam of loving kindness going from my heart to theirs, and it's warm and it's maybe pulsating a little bit, but you do you, and however you understand that word radiate. wishing them happiness, wishing they do the things that cause happiness. Or you can just repeat phrases of loving kindness for them. May you be happy. May you be safe from inner and outer danger. May you be well in body and mind. May you be at peace and live at ease in this world. Just making sure that it's very, very gentle, very kind. So just for the next few moments, we'll do this practice for our benefactor. And don't forget to smile. Smiling always helps so much in this practice. Don't need to be so serious. So shifting our focus just a little bit from loving kindness for our benefactor to now just imagining our benefactor doing this practice for us in the same way you did it for them. And all you have to do is just let all of that loving kindness back into your heart. Remembering how much they've meant to you. Being being grateful for them, being grateful for their love and kindness. Sometimes it helps to put your hand over your heart. If there's any part of your heart that has any kind of tightness or tension, any part of you that can't let all of that loving kindness in, it's all right. Can you then just breathe into that tightness and breathe out and see if it loosens any? If it does, fine. If it doesn't, that's okay too. Don't spend too much time on it. Just do your best to let all that love back into your heart while you imagine your benefactor doing this practice for you. And now shifting our focus again to now can we do this practice of loving kindness for ourselves, wishing ourselves happiness, wishing that we do the things that cause happiness. And you can either Just radiate loving kindness back to yourself, imagining your heart getting bigger and warmer and just more filled with this loving kindness. Because the more your heart is filled with loving kindness, the less room there is for anything that's negative, no suffering, no pain. Or can you just repeat phrases of loving kindness for yourself? May I be happy. May I be safe from inner and outer danger. May I be well in body and mind. May I be at peace and live at ease in this world. Still with your hand over your heart if you want. Still smiling if you can. Anything to make this meditation happier, easier. That's what we're going to do. So we'll do this for the next few moments. And finally, we can extend this practice and explore the limitless quality of the heart or the limitless potential of our heart to do this practice for all beings in all directions. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or small, omitting none. May all beings be at ease. Or if you want, you could just do it for everybody in this room. Either way, you can do it small or you can go big. Whatever works for you. And we'll do this as the final part of our meditation. And just open your eyes when you're ready. So let's just spend the next minute in silence as you stretch your arms and stretch your legs, keeping that mindfulness of loving kindness about you. And we'll have some questions and tell a quick story, and then we'll be good. Whew. All right. Any questions on the instructions at all? Nice. How was that for you? How was that meditation for you? It's all right? Yeah. Good.
You
Nice.
know, when you do a good one and then everything's like cloudy or, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like something was different than in the room than it was before.
Mm-hmm. It's you.
Sweet.
You are different. So you're right. Something in the room is different. Oh, gosh. Yeah. So, it's really funny. Several weeks ago, a couple people who were in attendance in person said, we really miss story time, because that's one of the things I do on occasion is I tell Buddhist stories. Like the Buddha's enlightenment story, the last days of the Buddha, the various people who were around the Buddha. They all had various lives and adventures and all those different types of things. And all these stories come pretty much from the canon, from the Pali Canon. And this story that I'm about to tell is the story of Jivaka, the Buddha's doctor. And the reason why this is a story is because, in the monastic code, there are lots of rules for monks and nuns. And these rules are pretty much situational. They're rules because of a particular situation. And there's this rule about being able to give monks new robes. Like once a year, you can give monks new robes. And this is why you can give new robes to monks. This is the story of Jivaka, who became the Buddha's doctor. And it all starts in the palace of a king. There was this courtesan who was there, and she found herself pregnant. And she was very worried, and she didn't know what she was going to do, because she was in the palace. She was one of the king's courtesans, and she was pregnant. And she came up with this like grand idea of what to do. She goes, well, if I have a girl, I'm just going to raise her to be a courtesan like me, like her mom. And if it's a boy, I'm going to throw him on the trash heap, because I don't know what to do with a boy. And so she had a boy, and she threw him on the trash heap because she didn't know what to do. And so one of the princes came by. He was just kind of riding by, and she heard this baby crying on the top of this trash heap. And he sent his men to go investigating, and they said, "Oh, it's a child, it's a newborn baby." And he goes, "Well, bring him. Let's take care of him." And that's what Jivaka means, because they named him Jivaka, and Jivaka means rescued alive. And so Jivaka had this wonderful life in the palace as like the adopted son of the prince. And he grew up and had a wonderful life. But as he was getting older, he knew what was going on. He knew he was not a blood relative. He knew he would not factor into like any talks of like lines of succession or anything like that. And when the kingdom changed hands, he would probably be kind of out of luck, even though he lived in the palace, right? So he figured, I need to get a profession. I need to get a profession, and so he was really interested in medicine. He was very, very good with herbs and plants and all that kind of stuff. And so he was sent to the most prestigious university of the time called Taxila. And Taxila was a real university. It's just east of Islamabad in Pakistan. But that's where everybody went at the time. All the rich kids kind of went there. And so he went there and he studied Ayurveda and medicine and all that kind of stuff. And he was really, really, really good. And then after a few years, he was kind of wondering, okay, well, when do I graduate? And so he asked his teacher, well, when am I done? And he goes, well, I'll let you know. I'll give you a test. What you need to do is go out into the district and tell me every plant that does not have medicinal value. You're so good at plants, you're going to tell me this. And he goes, all right. And so he goes out into the district and he finds this plant. The first plant he sees, well, this plant is good for this. He sees another plant. Oh, this plant is used for this. And he searches the entire district. And he's really, really, really worried because he can't find a plant that does not have some sort of medicinal value. Like everything he sees has some sort of value medicinally. And so he kind of sheepishly goes back to the school and he tells his teacher, somewhat forlornly, I'm so sorry. Every single plant that I saw in the district, every single one has some sort of medicinal value. I couldn't find a plant that didn't have any medicinal value. And the teacher goes, congratulations, you passed. And so he sent him on his way. And he knew that Jivaka didn't have enough money to get back home. So he gave him some money to get back home. The problem was he ran out of money to get back home. And so he was kind of like, I don't know how far along he was. Let's just say halfway there. And he says, well, he ran out of money. And so he didn't know what to do. So he goes, well, I'm an official, I'm a qualified doctor, an Ayurvedic doctor. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to advertise my services. And so he advertises his services and he finds this woman who had like a 7-year issue that had not been cured. Right. And she didn't trust him because she had plenty of doctors who looked at her and to try to heal her and nothing worked. She goes, I'm not paying you unless you succeed. Fine. No problem. I can do this. And so he examined her. And so she needed to be treated for some severe headaches. And he needed ghee, which was very, very popular, this clarified butter, ghee, to treat it. And so he mixed it up and he gave her the medicine and it worked. He was a really good doctor, right? Even fresh out of school, he was a really good doctor. And so, they gave him like, she gave him 4,000 coins. And the husband was so happy that who had a wife who was no longer in pain. The husband gave him like 16,000 gold coins, a male servant, a female servant, a horse, and a palanquin. A palanquin is like that thing where you carry people on. It doesn't have wheels. It's used by people, right? And so when he got home, because he eventually got home, all of this money he gave to the prince. He said, "This is yours. Thank you so much for helping me over the years. You raised me. You didn't have to. I know you didn't have to. Thank you so much. This is everything is for you." And the prince said, "No, you did this. This is all for you. But what I want you to do is to build a home near the palace. I'm going to give you some land, and you can build a home near the palace. And so that's what he did. And a little while later, King Bimbisara, who was like this very famous king, he was sick with bleeding hemorrhoids, which seemed very, very terrible and very, very painful. And even his wife was making fun of him for having these things, you know. And so the prince, his son recommended Jivaka, and Jivaka examined him. He put this medicine under his nails and administered ointments, etc. And the king got better. Right? And king gave him like 10,000 coins. The king gave him a small village in the district. And he also offered his services to the Buddha, right? Because the King Bimbisara was very much a fan of the Buddha, and the Buddha was his teacher, right? So that's how he became the Buddha's doctor. He was the royal physician. And then there was this part about, there was a wealthy merchant who had not been well for 8 years. And he came to Jivaka, and Jivaka goes, well, what will you offer me? And he goes, anything. And he removed 2 worms from his brain and said, he goes, I remove these 2 worms for your brain, and you're going to have to sleep 7 months on your back, and then 7 months on your right side, and then 7 months on your left side. And he goes, what? That's a lot you're asking me to do. You said anything. You said you'd do anything. And so he goes, so he slept seven days on his back. He was like, I can't do this anymore. And Jivaka goes, well, fine. Then do 7 months on your right side. And then after 7 days, he goes, I can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore. And he goes, all right. And then spend 7 months on your left side. And then after 7 days, he goes, I can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore. He got so impatient, right? Just after 7 days. And so Jivaka knew that he was going to do this, right? And so what Jivaka said was, you really only needed 7 days on each side, not 7 months. But I needed to get you to 7 days at least. So that's why he did it. And he gave him like 100,000 gold coins, right? And because of this, his reputation spread far and wide. Like everyone got to know him, right? And then there was this other king of a neighboring province who had been incredibly sick. And since Jivaka's name was really well known now, he sent for Jivaka, and Jivaka came, and he examined the king. And before he even said anything, the king goes, whatever you give me, no ghee. I hate ghee. It upsets me, so don't you dare give me any ghee along with anything. And Jivaka's thinking is like, crap, I have to give him ghee. That's part of the cure. And so he didn't know what to do. And so he kind of like developed this plan, because this king was very hot-tempered and he didn't want to upset this king. So he did a couple of things. One, he formulated the medicine for him, but he mixed it with this kind of, which included the ghee, right? But he mixed it with this kind of like astringent to kind of mask the taste of the ghee. And then he went to the gates of the city, and he goes, I need you to give me your fastest elephant. Put her right here, because I'm doing mixing these formulations for the king, and I might have to go get some supplies. So get your fastest elephant, put her here. He goes, okay. The guard goes, okay. And so the guard goes and does that. And then he goes and gives the king the medicine and administers the medicine. And he hightails it out of there. Gets on the elephant and takes off. And then a very short time later, the king, after having ingested this medicine, that mother, there's Guy in here. There's Guy in here. And he was angry. He was so upset. And so he called his fastest messenger, his fastest soldier, and said, "Go get Jivaka and bring him back here. I told him no Guy, and he put Guy in this thing." And so this messenger, super, super fast, eventually catches up with Jivaka. And Jivaka knew he was eventually going to be caught up too. And so he was just kind of sitting around, and he had laid out some fruit and some water. And the messenger goes, "The king wants you back right now." And he goes, "All right, it's fine. But look, you've been running for a long time. Have some fruit and have some water." He goes, "All right." So he has some fruit, he has some water. And a little while later, he's not feeling so hot. He's feeling very, very drowsy. And the messenger's like, "Oh my God. He looks at Jivaka and he goes, "Am I going to live?" "Oh yeah, you're going to live. I'm just going to put you to sleep for a little bit because I'm not going back there. Look, the king's going to be fine, right? You need to give it a little bit of time." And he was fine. He was fine. He was cured, right? He gave him like a whole like grove, and he gave him so much because he was so happy. And then it came time to actually working on the Buddha, because the Buddha was very sick. The great thing about, we forget about the Buddha was that he was a human being. He was very human. He got sick. His body got sick, and he got sick, right? And so he examined the Buddha, and he gave him this medicine, which included how many was it now? 9 rounds of purgation, which is just throwing up, right? Something that would make him throw up. And they gave him 9 more rounds. And then he remembered that he had a dream where he had to give him 1 more for some reason. And he remembered that dream, and he gave him 1 more, and then the Buddha was cured. And then the Buddha goes, "Well, what do you want for this?" And he goes, "The only thing that I really want is I noticed that a lot of the monks had robes that were just so tattered and dirty, and they just really needed new robes. I would really like it if you could just allow us to give them new robes once a year. Could you do that?" And the Buddha goes, "Okay." And so the Buddha made a rule that once a year that the monks could get new robes. And that's the story of how the monks get new robes every year. And that was the story of Jivaka, the Buddha's doctor. Love that story. So fun. How much time do we have? Ooh, just about. Any questions before we end for tonight? Ooh, that's all right. Well, thank you for being patient. Thank you for showing up in the cold, in the wind. It was so wonderful to have you. We're going to have a couple of announcements before we end. Daryl, come on up.
Hello, everyone. I'm tonight's host, Daryl. We opened Dharma Bum Temple 16 years ago to introduce Buddhist practice to those who show up. Those who lead are not nuns, monks, gurus, masters, or teachers, and are not looking for students. They are simply practitioners sharing their interpretation of the practice with others. Almost every night we have different classes led by various Buddhist traditions. We have a recovery sangha, which meets several times a week for those who are battling addiction. And we have a food redistribution program every Thursday at 5 p.m. And we have a class and programs every day, and everything we offer here is free. There's a full schedule on the websites and posted on the entryway above the shoe rack. We also have a lending library, so if you see a book and feel like you want to borrow it, please do, and then bring it back whenever you're done with it. And straighten up your seats and cushions when you head out, and thank you, and hope you have a good night.
Awesome. Thanks, Daryl. Again, thank you everyone for being here. I really enjoyed this time with you. So let's just join our palms together at our hearts, please. And may the benefits of this meditation, this story, this discussion be received by all beings. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be joyful and at ease. May all beings be happy. May all beings be loved and seen for the beautiful, radiant beings that they are, that you are. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, your week, and we will see you next time. Take care. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Do we just leave the cushions up front?
Yeah, just put it back where you got it, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thanks for coming here. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Did you have a good trip?
I did. Yes, thank you. I
Oh,
appreciate
good.
that. Yeah, I had a good trip.
I thought you were, because I was here the last few times, I was like, oh, maybe he took his hike, or I thought you used to hike.
Yeah, that's right. I went to Sedona to go hiking, but it was so cold and snow. I didn't really get to do that.
Oh, no.
But that's all right. You know,
Yeah.
I had fun anyway.
Oh, good. Well, welcome back. Hi, Travis. How are you?
I'm good, how you doing?
I'm good.